We're live! What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 14th episode of Speaking of Stadia. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron Cini, and as with me always is my favorite John Krasinski on the internet, the bearded beauty, the tallest wonder in the world, my favorite human ever, Jacob Porter. How are you?
I am good, but I don't want to overshadow our guest here.
That's right.
Yeah.
For the first time ever, we have our very first guest on the Speaking of Stadia podcast.
Woo!
Welcome, my favorite Canadian. Sorry, Jackson, Mel, and the rest of you, but she just tops y'all. Fiona. Fiona, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing this evening?
We're doing good.
Doing good.
I go really hype on the intro, and then I'll bring it down. Don't worry.
No, it's okay. I'm all for the hype. I
Love
need it.
Sweet. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We're so excited to have you for this, what I assume is our last podcast of 2020. Let's kick this year behind us. You know what I'm saying?
I was concerned for a second you were going to say, like, this is our last podcast. And I'm like, wait, whoa.
And as a guest, I'd like to also tell you we're done. Me and Porter broke up over Hades versus The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, it's been heated.
Final straw. He's gonna go drink his Pepsi, and I'll enjoy my Coca-Cola. Me and Jacob have discovered over the last few weeks, while we obviously adore each other, love each other, we have a lot of differences on silly stuff. Including Coke versus Pepsi.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's kick it off with what we always start off with. What are you playing?
And you want to start off, Fee? Or
let's guest honors. What have you been playing lately, Stadia or otherwise? We keep it pretty open. All consoles and PC players are welcome here.
Awesome. Well, I've been playing, as you guys know, I've been playing Immortals on my Twitch channel, and I have unfortunately haven't been able to play it too much this week because I had a few other, like, getting things out for Christmas and stuff like that. And as you guys can see, there's like a mess behind me. Christmas is going, it happens. Typically not my thing. But I've been playing that. I've been playing Dragon Quest 11 on Xbox.
Okay, nice.
Xbox, okay.
And
that's part of Game Pass, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you xCloud launched up there, right? In Canada? Can you play on your phone, like Game Pass games on your phone and stuff like that?
I think so, but I haven't tried it myself.
Okay.
No. I'm not huge, like, I'm not a big Xbox fan. I've just recently gotten into it. And so I've been playing that, and then obviously like a lot of tabletop simulator as well, because there's, I have a small community, and one night we're just like, oh, like, I typically like don't talk about the fact that like I'm a big board game fan, and then I mentioned the fact, hey, let's play a tabletop game, and then now everyone says like, let's play board games, and I'm like, I just want to play video games, and they're like, clank, and so it's like a constant like, we need to play board games. So
me and my two friends, I actually did another channel on YouTube, kind of been on hiatus since I moved out to my new house, but we actually were talking about playing a board game on TTS and streaming it or something, like, just for fun. So
absolutely
cool.
I just want to shout out real quick. Travail, our newest Stadia convert, has joined the chat. Thanks for joining us, Travail. Appreciate it. Hello. Love the support as always. So
awesome. I need to tweet this out. Well,
so I sent it out on ours, and then
you did. You beat me to it.
Yeah, nice.
All right, Mr. Porter, what have you been playing, sir?
Also been deep on that Immortals, Phoenix Rising. I'm like 5.5 hours in now. I'm loving my time with it so far. I'm just not super deep into the story. I did part of what's it called? Why am I blanking on her freaking name? The first area, the god there. Blanking on. I know Greek is Aphrodite, or is it is Aphrodite? You're right. Yeah. I did like her first quest, the first quest for her to kind of interact with her. I've had a great time with it. I think it's a collectathon of Ubisoft's level, but it's just a fun game, simple, and just it's just, I don't know, it's what I'm feeling right now. It just does what I want. Otherwise, I still jump in to play Outcasters and some of the other stuff on Stadia. I want to jump into some of the other Ubi Plus games. Like, I want to try out The Crew, and it's because I haven't really played too many racing games to give them a try, but I haven't really gotten a chance to. Otherwise, my PC's been not working great for me right now, but I've been playing Hades where I can as well. Like, I've always doing runs on that. So
Nice.
But yeah, we'll see Immortals right now. Just been really digging in that.
Sweet. I also have discovered a possible game of the year. Like Porter's been telling me all about this Greek mythology, and he's absolutely correct. Immortals is that good. I was setting you up on Hades. I did finally dive into about 2 hours of Hades last night. It
Nice.
is difficult but fun, and I am getting like kind of the flow and the feel for it. So I think it'll get its hooks in me. Me and the kid have put in about 13 hours into Immortals now, and we are obsessed. We did all the Aphrodite stuff, and now we're working on the Ares area.
Okay.
And that game, man, it hits. I don't know what it is, but it is just the perfect game for right now. It's so fun. And then obviously Cyberpunk. I've been, I'm about 20-ish hours into Cyberpunk now.
Wow, that's a good chunk. Well, you took off around the launch, right? Or no?
I did. I took a couple days off at launch, and then honestly, almost every single night, they patched it on the last episode. I talked a bit about the latency on mobile. It's completely fixed. It runs so silky smooth on mobile. So between my PC or my cell with the Kishi controller, I just plug away like side missions every night. I honestly haven't done hardly any of the story. I got through the first, like up to the title screen, which can take you up to 8 to 10 hours depending on how you play it. And then I cleared like one main mission after that. And then other than that, I've just been side questing it, and I love it. So, Fee, have you had a chance to try Cyberpunk at all on any platform of any kind?
No.
No, not yet.
I think I've been like holding off on it until I get a little bit farther, at least into Immortals. So I'm just like, it's sitting on my, like I have it, I own it. It's sitting on my Stadia. And every time I open up my Stadia, it's just like, the next game you should play is Cyberpunk. And I'm like, not yet.
Give me a moment.
Just give me a moment. But they keep on pushing to like Cyberpunk though. And I'm like, I get it. I understand. Oh, believe me, I get it. But no, I haven't played any of it yet. But I've heard mixed reviews.
Yeah, I'm hearing like I listen to like the Giant Beast Cast and Bombcast stuff, and they've been both very fine to negative on the game as a whole. Which is but other people gush about it and say how much they love it and love the character and the story and I heard I think from what it's quite interesting that you're focusing so much on the side stories when they're saying that the side stuff is pretty weak to them.
I really enjoyed it. I found some of the best characters, like that I didn't expect to fall in love with. And it's been awesome. Mel, welcome to the chat. Also, thanks for watching. You missed the intro where I called Fee my favorite Canadian, but I'll say it again. Right?
I'm gonna hide.
just
like
Mel's still a 9 out of 10 Canadian though. She's up there, so it's okay. I've really liked the side stuff. I think the Johnny Silverhand stuff is also really intriguing. Like I'm excited to get back to the main story. It's run like a dream for me. I did just run into my first bug. Well, I guess second. I had one bug that it was like supposed to be kind of a boss fight in the final mission before the title card, and he was just stuck in an elevator, and then I just got to murder him and move on. So it ended up being really easy. And then just like 2 nights ago, I was driving along and there was all these cars floating in the air.
I've heard about that.
That's weird. Yeah. So I stopped, and as soon as I looked at them, like literally turned the camera, they all fell. And so I was like, huh, that's weird. So I jumped off my bike, walked over to look at it, and they all exploded and killed me. I recorded both clips because it was too good. But I'm one of those people, though, that, we were talking about Fallout 76 before the show, and then Far Cry 5 was pretty buggy. I'm one of the people that kind of enjoys it. I find it very funny and comical, and like they don't bother me. They don't break my experience at all. As long as it doesn't literally break the game, I'm all about it. And my wife, she notoriously loves bugs. Like that's the only reason I even screen cap them is for her, because she just it's the most hysterical thing when a game just breaks and does stupid stuff. So yeah. Anyways, that actually leads us into our very first topic of the night, Cyberpunk 2021. The fallout from everything that happened. This story comes from Stadia source. I didn't have the link pulled up. I'm so sorry. So we have written into Kind of Funny. We have been talking a lot about how it runs on Stadia versus console. I've had 2 friends actually return their console versions and buy it on Stadia, and they've become huge believers, and they're loving their Premier Edition that they got because, as you guys know, they were giving away a Premier Edition if you bought Cyberpunk, pre-ordered or after launch.
After launch, but
yeah, but exactly. There's a big but to that. After The Verge, Forbes, and Kotaku all wrote articles about how good this game is running on Stadia compared to other platforms, it obviously wasn't just in my inner circle of people that kind of decided to give it a shot, because they ran out of that deal 4 days early.
Yeah.
They put out a statement that said, "Hey everyone, due to the overwhelmingly positive reception, we've now closed the CyberPunk 2077 promotion in all countries. If you place an order before 4 p.m. on December 13th, you are eligible for the promotion and will receive a code within 7 days to redeem your Premier Edition. Thank you all for the support and hope you're enjoying Night City." Note, since our guest from Canada is here, note, for players located in Canada, please note that the promotion ended on December 10th. Womp womp. For more information, take a look at the post here. So it ran out even faster in Canada. You Canadians were just loving that CyberPunk.
Yeah.
Fee, I know you said you bought it. Did you get it in time that you got a free Premier Edition?
Yeah.
Nice.
And I got the confirmation, and it's not one of those like they said I got it, but then they canceled it afterwards. I did get a confirmation, so everything's fine there. But I haven't received it yet, but by all means, I'm not worried whatsoever, especially since the holiday season, plus the world's on fire, so I definitely don't expect it until the new year.
I still see people popping it like on Twitter, like, "Oh, I got my Premier Edition today," and so they're still rolling out. Some people got them really quick. Some people got them obviously still getting them. So
yeah, I got mine in the mail. It took about a week, I think, from the moment I ordered it, so it wasn't
nice.
So you did actually order it. You're just waiting for it to arrive.
Yep.
Nice. I have been very impressed, and I know Google's done this before. Anytime I've gotten like I got a free Google Home from them at one point, or the Nest, and then the Premier Editions. I've been so impressed that it's like click to order. It automatically populates your code. Like, it's such a seamless process. So I'm not surprised that a ton of people took advantage of it. And I know Travail in chat, he got a free Premier Edition.
We had a bunch of guys in the Kind of Funny group that like were not Stadia people at all, and like, hey, let's try it on Stadia. Like, I mean, Jackson, like, he's the one that actually tried it, and guys, like,
Willie posted the other night of 3 Stadia controllers.
He has more than I do. Like, what the? I'm like,
yeah, I have 3 total as well, because I got 2 from the family share for the family for the YouTube Premiere a premium bundle they did.
We didn't get that in Canada. I've had YouTube Premium since day 1 in Canada, and yet still they're like, you don't get this, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with giveaway laws in Canada. I know, especially certain provinces have different giveaway laws. They like don't allow like it's a whole thing about you having to be like a skill. Like, you have to like do something to get it. It's interesting.
This is why they should just allow it for everybody and then say, but Quebec.
I think it's Quebec is the one.
It is Quebec
because
everything else, like you see on every like contest thing, it's just like regular like rules apply except for like residents of Quebec, and you're like, okay, then leave them out of this. Like, why does the rest of Canada have to be affected by this? But
no, just needs to go do their own thing, get out of the way, or get on board with the rest of you guys. Apparently,
exactly.
So, awesome. Do you guys have any final thoughts on the fact that, like, CyberPunk? I truly believe CyberPunk was a good boost for Stadia, and then it really turned some people around to giving it a fair shake. You guys have any final thoughts on that?
Yeah.
That's right. You can go. You go.
Okay. No, I think it was a really good turning point for Stadia, and I think that they really accomplished something this year. Like, I was really like, I've loved Stadia, and obviously you guys know that you guys love Stadia as well, but it's been relatively difficult, especially in the Kind of Funny community, to be like, Stadia is a thing, and everyone's just like, okay, losers. Like,
you and the 2 other people.
Yeah. It's just like you 3 constantly like tag each other, whoop, whoop, whoop. And it's just like, okay, no, this is like, it's really great. And people are like, okay, whatever. And then now Stadia has CyberPunk actually working properly, and people are like, oh, maybe this is actually a relevant platform, and maybe Google will actually, because Google's like as much like I understand one of the biggest arguments that people have is like, oh, Google's going to get rid of it in like 2 seconds. It's like, no, they recognize how big the gaming community is and like how big of an industry it is. And at this point, if they found something that works and with all the publicity and positive like for like comments that they've been receiving because of Cyberpunk, I'm very doubtful they're going to get rid of it anytime soon.
Yeah. And actually, I'm going to move one of the items in the doc forward because I just want to kind of segue into it. One thing I think is a big factor for this as well is, and I noticed this during when they did the whole Stadia like crowd play event with like Xavier Woods and whatnot.
Yeah,
was that I was actually watching a lot of the chats for that, and a lot of people were complaining like, oh, well, I when they're playing Outcaster specifically, like, oh, I have to put a credit card in for me. I have to put a credit card in.
Right.
Put a credit card in. And that was a big holdup as well. Another like moment where it's like they kind of hit a wall in terms of where they had a good opportunity getting more publicity, like trying to move it and whatever. It's fine. Oh, I forget, it's this keyboard. Never mind. My setup's all wonky. My keyboard is not plugged in right now because my laptop only has 3 USB ports.
Anyway, gonna segue into
was the Stadia Pro trial. They added a 30-minute thing for it now, so I think like between that and Cyberpunk, I think this has a good moment to really grow and gain steam going forward, especially just because people were constantly like, oh, I can't play Outcasts with you because I need to put a credit card information in. Even though it's free for a month, there's still a barrier. There's still so getting rid of that, so it's like, oh, they can now play for 30 minutes without putting credit card in on Pro. So this way they can say the streamer's going, they can make an account, get in queue, play a game with him, and then figure out like, oh, this actually works really well, and then put the credit card in and go forward. Like, hey, mom, can I buy this Stadia? Can I buy the Stadia, please?
Yeah.
So if you have that barrier to entry, like you're talking about, you know, that is something even for me. Like there's free trials that I've wanted to try, but the second you see you have to enter your credit card, you're like, I'm never going to remember to cancel this. I don't want to do this. But
you can cancel right away.
Proves to somebody that this works. Yeah, they can give it 30 minutes and see if it's really for them and if it's going to work. You know, one of the other things that we constantly hear about, well, yeah, I have trash internet. And, you know, I know we push back on that a lot of, well, what do you mean by trash? Because it actually runs on pretty low speeds and it's still totally fine. Yeah. This gives you a chance to take 30 minutes, see if it's going to work in your home on several devices, and then you're good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's
had Bomberman and Destiny you could try for free technically before, because you can go in without a credit card and just be a regular member, but giving them the list of games, the 40 games that they can at least like click and claim and at least try one that they really want to try. Yeah, I think it's a good between that and the promotion between like the free premieres, which was a big boost for them. Obviously, I think a lot of people afterwards were like, well, I'll wait to see if it goes on. Like they returned. Well, they didn't get the game to get the Premier Edition. It's like I returned the game, but I'll wait to see if Premier Edition goes on sale to get the Premier Edition because I do like Stadia. I saw a lot of that still going on. So even though not everyone got the Premier Edition, some people are obviously more upset about it. But I did see some positivity, even the people that didn't get the Premier Edition, so they kind of understand. But at the same time, I do. A lot of people also were saying like, "Oh, well, Google is a big enough company. Why can't they just give out more of these?" It's like this is a big moment for them. And I think there was also another issue with they actually had an issue with so many people playing Cyberpunk that the servers actually had issues. At least it wasn't all worldwide. It was like certain regions. I think UK was one of them because there was just so much server usage. And I think it's a breath to like they aren't expecting massive scaling for Stadia. I think they've come to terms with it's not going to go from multiple millions of people using it right away. Right. They're in it for long. I think it speaks to that they are in it for the long haul. And that's what the general public doesn't get, that we kind of understand like, hey, like they're not ready to just flip a switch and have millions of users on here. They want to scale this up and ramp up. And I think this is a big test for them in terms of scalability too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. You know, I just find it very interesting that they have made all these really positive turns, but the kind of the stumble of them coming out, there's still a lot of misinformation out there. I was on a podcast called Dad's Beards Nerds. just like last week, and it was a lot of fun. But the host, like, he was like, okay, well, how much is this going to cost me per month? Like, if I like, do I have to buy CyberPunk and still pay the $10? And I was like, no, you don't. You literally just need a Gmail account and you can buy a game if you want. Like, if you don't want to be the subscription person, you don't have to be.
Yeah.
And by the end of that episode, he had purchased a Premier Edition. He was going all in on CyberPunk. Like, he was so pumped. There's just these weird things that people they still don't know, or they just have these like little misconceptions of how it all works. So hopefully they can continue to make the moves that they have. This is very sad for CD Projekt Red, but they should have probably had a better version of the PlayStation. But it getting pulled down from the PlayStation Store was also, I think, a big moment for them.
Yes.
Where people are like, well, where do I want to play this then? And as people are trying it and as people are getting into it, it's changing minds. Even Travail in chat just now said, I'm pleasantly surprised with my Premier Edition. Once people are actually getting their hands on it, there's this like light bulb moment. And it's been cool to see so many of those in that Facebook group that we're all in, where we do talk about Stadia and all this kind of stuff, where people are now posting pictures and they're getting excited and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this. So it has absolutely been a turning moment, whether people have wanted to admit it or not.
Yeah.
Craig Miller. Kidding.
The whole kind of funny gang. Just
For sure.
Yeah.
So that leads me to the next big thing that I think was huge for them. They've had the next two news stories on our list were massive moves for these guys. Ubisoft Plus has finally come to roll out on Stadia. The current Ubisoft titles include Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Valhalla, Family Feud, Far Cry 5, New Dawn, Ghost Recon Wildlands, Breakpoint, Immortals, which we've all gushed over already, Monopoly, The Crew 2, The Division Plus, Warlords of New York expansion, Trials Rising, Uno, Watch Dogs Legion, Watch Dogs, and Watch Dogs 2.
Wow.
Have you guys tried out some Ubisoft Plus through Stadia?
That's how I'm playing Immortals.
Okay, I see.
I know
you were early adopters.
No, you both bought it.
Right, Immortals real quick.
Yeah, the link, the adding the Stadia, Ubisoft Plus to Stadia was literally I subscribed on Ubisoft, and then I went back to Stadia to go link it, and it was already linked. It's like it just knew. I think I clicked the button and like, oh, it's like you're linked. Like I didn't have to put in my account. It just knew. Like it just knew from my Gmail account. Like, oh, it's linked. Perfect.
Yeah, it took me 5 seconds.
Literally, I'm like, oh, like wow, like that was impressive. And then all of a sudden, just my library just like doubled. Because they also did that
live in Canada, right?
I was gonna wait until my turn.
It's only US right now.
I was like,
well, no, it's only US right now.
She's like just staring.
You're just like
it's one tear slowly going down her face, and just
yeah, a single tear came out, and it was in the shape of Canada, and that's
it was a maple leaf, and it was just like
yeah, no, it's
sorry, Fee,
but they also did add the three other Assassin's Creed games that just got added. I think Unity, Syndicate, and one of the other ones got added after Ubisoft Plus was launched. So those also got added to the list.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't tried anything else again beyond Immortals. But I do want to. I popped in to Odyssey and I figured out my issue with that. Apparently, with Ubisoft Plus, they were supposed to make it the save go across, but I guess it hasn't yet, or I'm not sure if they have for older games. I know it does for obviously newer games like Immortals, but I think Odyssey is old enough where it doesn't do it. So I'll always jump into Valhalla probably and give that a shot.
It's fun.
But,
I mean, it's an Assassin's Creed game, but
I've heard it's definitely not as good as Odyssey. At least not as it's not being as well received as Odyssey. So but not saying it's a bad game. It's just like it's not quite.
I'll say this: I had to jump through so many hoops to attach Ubisoft Plus to Luna, to the point I actually had to contact Ubisoft support because like things just weren't like attaching and all this stuff. And I was
that's
like,
weird because it's literally just be like click, like
yeah. And so my experience on Stadia was so different. You sent me a link that saying it was live. I clicked link and it was off to the races.
Well, Ubisoft is clearly working very closely with Google on this, and games like Immortals. Like I listened to the Bombcast, and I was thinking about this already before they even mentioned it. But the demo for Immortals had to be just Google had to pay for that. I absolutely had to pay for that. I'm assuming because that that part of the game, like this from my knowledge, is not in that game at all. Like you don't go to the area that sequence to have the dialogue is all unique to that area.
Wow. I didn't realize that.
I think at least that seems like it'd be early on tutorial stuff, right? Like you're not. So why would that be anywhere else in the game? That wasn't the tutorial that I played when I got into the game. So I'm like, oh,
they built a unique demo just for Stadia,
and it's only on Stadia. Yeah. So like that's crazy.
Yeah,
that they did that. So clearly, Ubisoft and Google are definitely. I mean, it's been obvious since a year ago, even though it came to Luna first, but the integration is definitely there, and they definitely been working on it for a lot longer.
Right.
So that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah. I've been pleasantly surprised. It was really nice having Ubisoft launch so that I could really, really test the exact same games on Luna versus Stadia. Luna has a long ways to go. I'm telling you. I mean, I'm rocking 400 megs over here, and it was on the struggle bus. So like I had constant freezes, frame drops. I had like a ton of texture popping. Like it just was not running games well. So I'm very glad to see that it's running super well on Stadia. Seems to be running very smoothly. I had a much better experience with Assassin's Creed. I kind of talked trash about Valhalla because I had only played it on Luna. So at least now I've had a solid experience with it. So yeah, I don't know. Just win after win with Stadia lately, which is great.
Did you play Valhalla as well at all, or?
I haven't played Valhalla yet, no, because I was actually waiting for Ubisoft Plus. Because I knew around the same time Immortals was coming out, which is out of all the games that were coming out around this time, that was the game that I wanted to play because I'm a huge like mythology nerd. And so I was just like, okay, that's top priority. And then I got CyberPunk and I'm like, okay, I'll just wait until Ubisoft Plus could come out.
I as well enjoy the mythologies very much. So
we don't have any dates on when rollout in other regions or anything like that.
No, it just says beta right now for US only. And I know a lot of the UK fans are very upset about it, but like I get it, I understand, but like it's not just Google, it's Ubisoft too. Like it clearly it's from some of the replies I've seen from Stadia, it seems like Ubisoft is the one that's saying where it will roll out. So
I mean, Fiona can throw a rock and hit Ubisoft Studios. So she should just go over there and knock on the door and say hi.
We have Ubisoft Halifax. Like I've been there multiple times. I could just be like, yo, give me this plus. And they'd be like, excuse me.
Who are you?
They'd be like, why are you here?
I work for Google. That's fine.
Oh, man. Another big win this week was Stadia announced that they're also now playable natively on iOS devices via the web app. So again, this comes from our good friends at Stadia Source. Stadia is now fully playable natively on iOS thanks to progressive web app from Google. We knew it was coming about a month ago due to the discovery that Stadia were working on a way to get Stadia working through the browser since Apple were being difficult about allowing third-party digital streaming, but they have now changed that. So they launched it via, you can just play it directly on Safari, I believe, correct?
It's through I think it's through Safari, through the what's called the progressive web app, which actually is really cool. They have a whole way you can save it, so it's an icon and it essentially opens like an app, which is really cool. So you can, it has. They actually were smart about it too, because like the color of the app is different than the basic Stadia app that's on there. So it's one's red with white logo, and one's white with red logo. So you can tell the difference. But yeah, it's it's literally just it's really through Safari, but it's like you can make it function like an app essentially.
So. Nice.
I am not an iPhone person. Fiona, you have any thoughts on Apple and Stadia?
I think that allows a lot of people that were restricted beforehand, and this goes hand in hand with us talking earlier about it being more accessible for people and more like honestly right now it's easier to get Stadia than it is to get the PlayStation 5 and the new Xbox.
Yeah.
And
100%.
So you you don't even need to have my computer. Terrible. I'm sorry, computer, you're falling apart, and this is why I'm getting a new one. But I've been able to play games like Dead by Daylight completely fine. I have Immortals completely fine. Like these larger games that I'd be more concerned about. I played I played Elder Scrolls Online for number of months and had no issues on my computer. So it's really great. Like right now, like if I didn't have Stadia, I may have been a little bit upset that I haven't gotten PlayStation yet because it's so freaking difficult. But I'm using my hands so much for some reason. I'm just like,
we're very animated. It's okay. We love it.
I think it's really great that the people that were like, well, I have a Mac or I have an iPhone, I can't do it. It's just like, you don't have an excuse now.
Right.
You have access to this and it's so much easier and you're getting great games and like AAA games that are not running well on other consoles.
Yeah.
Really like easily, and you don't even have to download it. Like the second that the game came out, you can just open it up and bam, you're done.
Right.
Yep.
I think that's been one of my favorite pieces of Stadia is like when CyberPunk launched at 5:00, we were going to record that night so that I could have my first thoughts out.
Yeah.
There was no download. There was no waiting.
No pre-downloading even.
Right. No, none of that.
No.
And the ability, again, to just do it anywhere. Like you said, you're on your computer, right on. It's working great no matter what type of PC you're running. If you want to move over to your phone, go for it. You know, if you have the Chromecast, which you can also just go pick up at Best Buy, you're not hunting it down like a PS5.
Yeah.
So
I've actually been playing Immortals mostly on my phone while my wife watches TV. I just lay on the couch with her and we'll play on my phone. And it's been awesome. Like that's literally how I've been playing it. Probably at least 3 of the hours I've played of it. 3+ hours. So
like when I get really into like Dead by Daylight, I play that quite often. I'll just like I'll sit on my computer, play it, and then be like, you know what, I'm just gonna switch over to my phone. And then I just like lay in bed and play that.
Yeah.
Way too late, but it's still easily accessible and it runs fine. So
it's the true Switch Pro at this point.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. That was you had that post on Kind of Funny where it's you the Kishi and saying the Switch Pro ever.
Yeah. The Switch Pro beta. Yeah. So I love that they've just like all of these wins have been directly for consumers to get their hands on this to prove that the tech works. They had a lot of goodwill that they needed to build up, and throughout the entire year, I just feel like we've seen it, and it's been like little wins here and there. But man, they took off like right around September. You know, they started really being a lot more active on social media. They started going a lot more crazier, like in their marketing. They started having a lot better, like direct messaging. They started having a lot more fun. And I think
they are. It's fun. It's fun watching on Twitter.
Wins were coming, and they're gonna really celebrate them.
And it's like they know that how busy and like the fact that Microsoft and PlayStation weren't gonna have enough consoles. Like they are smart enough to know like this is the history of the PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here's the history of the Xbox. We're going to come out with not only like a AAA game that works properly, but while they're all being sold out and have no access to it, we're going to allow more people to get access to it. And we're going to give away the way that you can play our games for free with the purchase of a game.
Yeah.
That's it. Like that was such a smart maneuver by Google. Like obviously they're not dumb. Like they know what they're doing. Like they are very much sitting there and being like, okay, so we know that this isn't going to be running properly or they're not going to have enough consoles. So we can take the week after and then offer it to all the YouTube Premium people in the United States. And then now we're going to introduce it to the iOS users that have been saying like, oh, I haven't had access to it. Let's release this right before Christmas. So all the people that are like all the students that have all these iMacs and all these Apple products be able to play it over the holidays, because it's going to happen. Because what's going to like, it might just be a lot of parents as well, where they might have YouTube Premium and be like, oh, I can't get my kid this console, but maybe I get them this Stadia product because I can get it free with my YouTube Premium that I purchased because I watch TV through my YouTube now.
Right.
That they give those to their kids, and then bam, like they have so many more people. And I imagine there's going to be a lot of people getting Stadias because it's very easy to have that like the controller and the Chromecast Ultra for Christmas presents.
Yeah, it is
now.
Yeah, it is funny how this is the best way to play on like be an Apple gamer is Stadia. Like it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
A Google product is the best way to play on
Steam,
Apple.
No. Yeah. Epic, no. Stadia, yep.
Works great. Yeah, and instantly, no downloads, no nothing.
Nothing.
Huge win.
Huge win.
And now all those Apple people get to experience the joy of free games with Pro. They have now confirmed 4 different titles for Stadia Pro in January. The first one being F1 2020, the next one being Hotline Miami, and then Figment. And Ari?
I think it's Airy.
Ray? And the Secret of Seasons. ARY. What do we say?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Ari?
I think I was at Airy, but
Huh.
yeah,
I haven't actually seen anything about that game. Jacob, have you watched any clips or anything like that?
it's like a platformer style, like a 3D platformer style game, or like action adventure game. It doesn't. I checked the reviews. Did not review very well on other platforms. Hey, but I can try it now for free.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, the game. I looked at the game Figment because when that came out this month actually to the platform. It's like an isometric adventure, like action adventure game, which kind of looks kind of interesting. Actually, I'm kind of interested to try that. Really unique art style for that. Like we're kind of like either you like it or you hate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel. And then I've played Hotline Miami on Steam and beat that game. That game is fantastic.
So
I love Hotline Miami, and I didn't beat it on PlayStation, so I'm actually really excited to dive back into it. That game is so fun.
Yeah, I have 2 as well on Steam. I just never got around to playing it, but one was awesome. And then F1.
I mean, I'll play it.
I'll try it.
I'll play it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the weird thing about Stadia is, man, like if it tracked, like, you know how on PlayStation the second you start a game it's going to show up in like your trophy list. I don't want to see the amount of games I've played for 15 minutes on Stadia to just be like yes or no. It's awesome. I love that I have this ability, but it's just kind of funny that no other platform has done this to me where I'm like, well, it's here. See, I'm gonna try it.
I will say the thing about Stadia as opposed to like PlayStation Plus is like I'll claim the games, but I'm never gonna download them. Like, but this I don't need to. I can claim the games. Like, I'll jump in and try this. I don't need, like, there's no strings like to get you, like, holding you back from going and playing this game that you may hate. But hey, I can give it 15 minutes, and if it doesn't jive with me, then I move to the next thing. There's no barriers. So downloading is a barrier. Waiting 30 minutes for a game to download is a barrier.
It is. It really is. And then you're like, I just took up hard drive space that I didn't need to. And then you're playing that whole game, and like, I don't know. It's been great to just be like, yep, this is free. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to try it. And then you can say, yeah, it's me or it's for me or it's not for me.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining chat, Link TV. I'm very sorry that I don't know who you are.
But thank you for being here.
But thanks for watching and hanging out. And if you are somebody that I absolutely know, I'm very sorry, and tell me your name. Cool. Any of those other games that you're excited about that you can't wait to dive into out of those 4? Fiona, I'll let you have the floor first.
Nice. Well, I'm definitely excited to get back, like you said, back into Hotline Miami. I really enjoyed am I good at it? No. Did I love the storyline though? Absolutely. The art style is amazing. Like it's so good. I could go on about it. I love the original. I like the second one, and being able to play it again. And once again, not even need to worry about downloading it, because I know for a fact I have it downloaded maybe on the PlayStation at the moment, but I haven't played it.
I feel like I have it everywhere now at this point.
It's like, oh, I have it on my PC. I have it on my PlayStation. Like, okay.
Right.
And now I have it on Stadia.
And so now you'll get really good at it.
Exactly. And
then
switch
from Dead by Daylight to that, lay in bed, play till way too late.
And then I get back to Dead by Daylight, and then
There you go.
Super amazing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Figment as well. I think that that's really cutesy kind of art style that I'm like really into, and then having that kind of like an action adventure that it doesn't have too much pressure, that like you don't feel like, oh, I'm gonna like I have to continue playing this. Like it seems like one of those like you can play it for a bit and then stop and then go back to it after a little while.
Yeah. It reminds me of there was a VR puzzle game where you have these little planets and you like twist around and you have to find all the little animals in each level. It definitely gives me that vibe in terms of like art style and just very whimsical and fun. So I'll definitely give it a shot. Jacob, anything else on these games that you're just can't
just
jump into? You know,
like I said, Figment. Like I said, I probably won't jump back into Hotline Miami personally, but I do want to at least give Figment, and I do want to try whatever Airy,
the Secret.
Secret of Seasons. Just give it a shot, see how it is. But I am excited for some of the new games we have coming. Yeah, there you go. We got some actually decent hitters here between we got make sure you go to Stadia right now, open it up, claim Cthulhu Saves Christmas.
Right
It's
now.
very fun, very
I already did
very
it.
entertaining. I need to do it, so
Travail,
I
click it.
do it.
Do it.
And then we got some older games, but Lara Croft, Garden of Light, Rain, which is a mobile game, which has been ported to other platforms and now is Stadia, and then Enter the Gungeon, which is a fantastic game. Go play Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah.
It is awesome. Before Hades, it was my favorite roguelike, and then Hades came out, and then, but yeah, it's a good like bullet hell roguelike game that's just a ton of fun. And
Okay.
even plays well co-op
Yeah.
too. So some people don't like it co-op because they think it makes it it's more difficult, but I think it's just fun. Like I don't take it seriously.
And all these are on sale, I believe, if you have Pro. Oh no, Lara
Was it
Croft
not?
is. Reigns
Lara-
is already only $2, so it's not like it needs the
but
Pro.
Enter the Gungeon is not. I don't believe.
No, it's not. It's $11 and
It's
That's
$11.
That's
though.
still worth it.
That's
That's
right.
still absolutely worth
Yeah.
it. And then we also got two other games we know are coming to Stadia, which is big. Disco Elysium, which is it was Game of the Year person last year, and then won a bunch of games that gave the Game Awards. And then there's other I'm gonna butcher this one. Chia. I'm sure if it's a soft T or hard T. I don't know. That game looks wild.
It looks the pineapple.
Yeah, like it's like the game Everything. It's like the game Wild that was supposed to come out for PlayStation like 5 years ago and never came out. Where
Yeah.
you just become animals and fruit and stuff like that.
yeah, I did watch this
But-
trailer.
But it looks like
like
Wind
so
Waker
great.
though. But it's like Wind Waker art style. It's
Right.
wild looking. Like that
Yeah.
game looks incredible. So
Yeah,
But
it's
still
got kind
very
of that almost like a Mario Odyssey vibe. How you like transport into things, but
yeah,
they go third person
Mm.
when you take over, right?
yes. Well, it's a third person game. I think in general, at least it
Yeah.
looks like it.
Oh, okay. Man, Travail, just pause Cyberpunk and just Christmas. Cthulhu Saves Christmas. Just click it. Come on, man.
Just exit game.
You don't have to exit the game. Just pull up Stadia.com on a different device. Go down and hit claim.
So
it doesn't.
easy.
How are you watching us right now? I mean, you're opening your
Come
tab.
on.
Yeah.
We're gonna bully you into claiming this game right now on stream.
So yeah.
I can't wait to try Chia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it looks really quirky and fun. And again, talking about the art style, I just think it looks like a great time. We don't have dates on those, right? Just announcements?
No, just announcements, I believe. Have either of you actually played Into the Gungeon or Garden of Light or Reigns or no?
Oh, I have played Reigns.
Okay.
I
You've
bought
played
Reigns.
Reigns?
The
Talk to me about
second.
Reigns.
Oh, okay. First of all,
Preach.
the longest streak that I had was 76 years, which is actually insane for that particular game. Like, it is very, very difficult to have a reigning monarch for 76 years.
Have you? Are you familiar with what the game is, Aaron, or no?
No, please tell me. And
Okay,
I'm already
it's a mobile like adventure. I'll let Fee talk about more, but like it's a mobile adventure game where it's like you kind of swiping left and right and making decisions really quickly, and you're trying to manage you manage a bunch of stuff. So I'll let you go. Probably explain it better.
Absolutely. So no, I like you explained it pretty much to the T. The background is there's an entity, and you find out that you are the reincarnation of the last monarch, and you are trying to figure out why you're here, why you're alive, why you are the reigning monarch. And trying to figure out the past, like how you ended up in essentially this time loop where you're constantly the monarch. And if you make wrong mistakes, if you go above a certain threshold and you hit max, so maybe you have max money, then you're going to die because the people find you too greedy and you have too much money and you didn't give enough money to the people, or your military is at a minimum and at the lowest point, and it'll say that the military overtook you because you didn't put in too much amount of money, or they will say like people from another land have come and attacked you because you didn't fund the military enough. It's all it is. It's just on your screen and you have your person, and then there's like a person that comes up and it says like, this is the squire of the reigning town, and they're coming to tell you that there's an issue, and he's just like, there's these people turning into werewolves, and you can say like, I'm going to help this person or I'm not going to. And if you say you're going to help them, then you might be lowering your military because they may have been attacked by the werewolves, and then maybe there's religion, military, money, and food.
Okay.
And like people like you. And if you may send help for the werewolves, and the religious people are like, why did you help them? That's obviously they're heretics, and you shouldn't be helping them with this. So your the religious aspect will lower, and it's a very, very basic game, but the stories kind of branch out, and the more you go into certain storylines, you get more cards for your deck, because it's a little bit like a deck builder in a way, because you're presented with these certain issues. It has extended to her reign. So the original is reign, so you're the king. There's her reign, which you're playing the queen, which honestly, the queen one is a little bit irritating because some of the people are like, you're just a woman. And you're like, shut up, you're dead. And then now there's also Game of Thrones reign.
I saw that as well.
So I own all three.
Wow. Rain fan.
Yeah, it's because I used to travel on the bus to go to work, and I would constantly just play that because it's just open up on my phone and just like have a few like going back and forth. But yeah, the longest one I had was 76 years.
Wow.
And my person, I went through like essentially like insanity, and so your like some of the words get mixed up, and sometimes you might not even see certain words, and they'll like the screen will start shaking. And every so often when you die, you get reincarnated back to the next reign, but then you might be interrupted by this entity or like the secret person who comes and shakes your screen around and says that you might not be following the correct path. So they give you different quests, and there's different like objectives, and if you hit certain objectives, you get new cards, and yeah.
Huh, cool. That sounds crazy.
Yeah, I didn't dive too far into it, but I liked like the little bit I played, and I've heard a lot of people rave about it in general. So
yeah,
it was one of the best mobile games ever. Like,
I don't mean this as like a shot at you, Fee. This sounds like a game that my kid will really like, but only because he loves stuff like this. He downloaded a game where he had to run for president, and he had to like actually like pick certain issues and do these certain things in debates to see if he could win. Yeah. This is really bad. He has a game where he tries to see how quickly he can spread a global virus before they can make a vaccine.
Oh, pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah. Like loves like put all this misinformation out there and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. So like that sounds like such his jam. He loves the idea of like, I will make all these choices for people. So I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna play
management.
Oh, it's worth it. Like honestly, it's very much. Like I said, it's just all you're doing is swiping left or right. Yeah, and then you choose yes or no, and then you have to just balance these 4 different pillars, and that's it.
Tinder of leadership.
Yeah.
Swipe left or right. That's all you gotta do. Also, big news. We won.
I'm sure we can do that.
Travail went ahead and said, fine. He's going to go get Christmas, or Cthulhu Saves Christmas.
Oh my goodness. I need to jump into that. I meant to today, but then I ended up Christmas shopping and then wrapping. So I'll probably play that after this.
Yeah, maybe while my daughter's napping tomorrow, I may jump in and stream that just for a little bit, see how that goes.
Yeah.
It's Christmas. Gotta do something for Christmas. Come on.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that is the end of our news, and it brings me to the final 2 topics of the night, which I was very excited to discuss with you guys. Let's start off with the first one, which is Stadia Games of the Year. This does not have to be a Stadia exclusive, but being a Stadia podcast, I would like it if we kept our Game of the Year discussion to things we specifically played on Stadia. My personal Game of the Year, I have no problem saying right now, is The Last of Us 2 for me personally. So if you guys want to, Jacob's was Hades. Fee, if you want to toss out your Game of the Year, please do so, and then we'll move into the Stadia specifics. Fee, did you have a Game of the Year that you did not play on Stadia?
No.
You're like overall Game of the Year you ended up playing on Stadia?
Honestly, for me, I think it was Immortals. Yeah. I think that was really like I own Hades. Have I played it yet? Unfortunately, no, because I had a commission that I was working on pretty much the entire month of December. Just joking. I did play other things, but I really wanted to sit down and kind of stream Hades, but I've heard nothing but good things. And so I think if I had played Hades, I would have definitely said that was my Game of the Year. But just with the lightheartedness of it, and also the fact that they've really integrated a lot of like what I like about mythology, because even though they joke around and stuff, I'm like, that's actually a thing that happened. Like,
No, it's all like they do their work.
Like to the point where, and I talked about this on my stream, that when you're making your characters, there's these like the usual skin tones, and then there's like these crazy skin tones at the end. That's actually the skin tones that Zeus destroyed, because originally when they created the like first humans, they were made out of clay, and the three people that were there, well, three gods. There was Prometheus, the Titan. Because he was the one who built them. There was Athena to build them in her likeness and for her to be there to pass on wisdom and to assist building them. And then there was Zeus. And they had created these 15 people in clay, and then they went away, and Zeus came back and was just like, these guys are ready. And Prometheus is like, no, they're not. Like, some of them are not finished baking. And he's just like, oh, it's fine. And the ones that he destroyed were the teal, the green, and like almost like this like purplish clay color. And those are the three colors that are at the end of the spectrum. And I'm like, good job,
Wow.
guys. Like,
I learned something. I didn't know that. So that's really cool.
Well, even just as funny as some of the things that I've noticed with it is like some people like or don't like the dialogue between Zeus and Prometheus, and I understand that. I personally like it. My favorite thing was like the Aphrodite, when they're talking about how Aphrodite actually was made and like how that all works. And like being a pearl, it's like, oh no, it's really wait, really what? Like it's they clearly are. They clearly get the whole mythology in the game. It's fun. Yeah. Like it's just they take a fun approach to it, which is good.
And the back and forth between Zeus and Prometheus, Prometheus was Zeus's best friend up until he gave the fire to the humans. He was literally Zeus's best friend. Out of like the gods were like cool and everything, but Zeus really appreciated Prometheus, and for him to have those conversations, it's very much like, even though I've locked you up, like I'm still friends with you, and that's why we have these arguments. If I didn't like you, we wouldn't be arguing about this, like having this back and forth, because they've had conversations like obviously it's obviously very different because this is a video game, but they're kind of like back and forth with each other. That's very like canon to those two people, like those two mythological creatures, and also just some of the things that happen in the game. It's just like, that's pretty much it. And Zeus pretty much only has 3 moods. There is drunk Zeus, horny Zeus, and angry Zeus. And that's it.
I identify with all 3 Zeuses. This is I got my kid obsessed with Greek mythology, by the way. So he watched the Disney Hercules movie today. It was all about that.
That's my favorite Disney movie. And also, have you watched The Blood of Zeus on Netflix yet or no?
No, I haven't.
It's very good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Listening to Sir Stephen Fry created a series about Greek mythology, and one of the ones I got from Audible is it's called Mythos, and he kind of talks. It's pretty much almost the kind of the commentary that they have in Immortals. In that actual book, like some of the commentary that he has, like jokingly, like Prometheus like kind of scorned at Zeus, and Zeus like as the conversations that they have between them, I'm like, that pretty much seems like they got this from the book. But no, it's fantastic, and I would highly recommend that book if you haven't already, and especially the audiobook, because Stephen Fry is absolutely amazing.
I'll look into that.
Travail going with Mr. Porter here, shouting out Hades as his game of the year. No surprise.
I'm in the mythology reign, so I'm gonna say more like I'm on the same wavelength.
He's letting you know it has all that same mythology, but just sexier.
Oh, believe me.
Deuce is a babe.
I know.
All right. Jacob, game of the year, I know, is Hades.
Yes.
Stadia. Oh, actually, real quick. Fiona, do you have any other games you want to shout out on Stadia that just really stuck out to you this year outside of Immortals?
Honestly, as someone who's a huge fan of it, and I actually, I know I mentioned it a lot, but Dead by Daylight, being able to play that on Stadia has been absolutely amazing. I actually was main PlayStation for Dead by Daylight, and had bought quite a bit of stuff on it. I actually decided to just switch it all over to Stadia. Did I buy everything that I had on PlayStation? Yes. Unfortunately, it's not cross compatible.
Yeah,
And so yes.
Yeah, me having invested some money into Dead by Daylight on Steam was very nice that they had the cross progression there. So all my stuff came over there. I still don't have everything. I have a lot of the earlier stuff. I was into Dead by Daylight earlier on. Like I've probably the third or fourth person pack they added. I have like the first 3 or 4 packs, but then a lot of the newer stuff I don't have, so I may buy some of that on the sale that's going on right now on Stadia.
Yeah, but no,
I was gonna say, a friend of mine actually just messaged me 2 days ago saying, "Hey, we're looking at getting back into Dead by Daylight. Do you want to play? Is it cross platform?" I'm like, yeah, I actually play on Stadia. I'll add you. And I looked up his PlayStation name and found him and added him, and it was cool, so we can play now.
No, I played that every single day probably for the month of August through October, to a point where I was actually an MC at a Dead by Daylight event.
Heck yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
So it was I'm really into it. The lore is fantastic. If you haven't already and you think Dead by Daylight's stupid, read the lore, because the lore is absolutely bonkers.
Oh, cool.
And highly recommend it, because I could go on for that for days. But yeah, I think that was something that really made me get back into Stadia. I love Stadia to begin with. I have had it pretty much since day one. But I did kind of fall off the bandwagon for a little bit, especially in the spring with it not having as many games, and then pretty much being into Animal Crossing when the pandemic hit. So it was very much me focusing on that, but then having Elder Scrolls and Dead by Daylight, it's really made me super invested in it too. And I've been playing pretty much Stadia exclusively, except for some of the off games on Xbox.
I've been playing most, besides some stuff on Steam. I've been and TTS. I've been playing TTS of course, but besides that, I've been pretty much Stadia all year. I barely even turned my PlayStation on to play Apex Legends, and that's it. And I installed The Last of Us 2 with the intention of playing it, and just never played it.
I didn't play it at all.
Yeah, I do want to get to it finally.
Ow.
I know. But yeah, so for my list, I actually made a little list while we were doing this. Mine is probably gonna surprise most people besides Aaron, unless you listen to this a lot. I really fell in love with, oddly enough, SteamWorld Quest this year because of Stadia. In the spring, when everyone was playing Animal Crossing, I was playing SteamWorld Quest.
Mm-hmm.
I fell in love with that game. That game is so much fun. It's light. It's easy. Now that they have the touch controls now, actually that game would work so well on touch controls too, which is kind of a shame that I didn't have that back then. I just thought the characters were all clever, fun, humor between the characters. There's simple gameplay, a fun little deck management game where you're building a really condensed deck of 8 cards, and just kind of for each character, and just the deep strategy you can really find in those 8 cards is really cool.
Yeah.
So that was probably my game. Surprisingly enough, my game of the year this year on Stadia. Granted, I know it's an older game, but I had that's the game I had most fun on Stadia this year. Immortals are probably going to be. I'm pretty into putting it as number 2, just because I see myself spending a ton of time in that game and really enjoying it. Monster Boy number 3, because I've gotten about over halfway through that game, and I'm enjoying my time with that overall. It's just a fun. Again, my mood this year has been a light, easy fun. That's kind of why I haven't picked up Last of Us 2.
Needed in, which that's fair. To your point, is not The Last of Us 2, but we've all kind of needed that levity this year in gaming, so I totally get that.
Number 4 is Outcasters. I fell in love with that game once it was launched on Stadia. I think it's a good win for Stadia in terms of the first of the, besides Orcs Must Die 3 is really the first one of the Stadia Games Entertainment label games. But I think this is a really good showing, and especially with the tech that Stadia is going for with crowd play and crowd choice, it's a good one for that. It's a good small player count game to get people in. That's part of Pro. Dead by Daylight is also good too, but the games are much longer. It's harder to get the turnaround on it, so I think it's a good game for Stadia in general. And then I really enjoyed. I love Super Hot, and my Control Delete was a really. I paid for it. No, I didn't get part of Pro. I actually because they announced it for Pro after I bought it. But I really enjoyed that game so far. I'm not as far as I'd like to be into that game. It's actually really, really tough. But it's a fantastic game, and more Super Hot's always good. I want to give a shout out to I know you played it as well, Fiona. Is One Hand Clapping. I didn't play it right at launch. I waited for a few patches, a few updates to come in to play it.
Yeah.
And that game is so clever and unique and fun, and it's just a clever, fun little like game that I think everyone should try. It's like $3 or $4. Like I think it's like $3, and everyone should. If you have Google Pay and Rewards, use that money towards it. Like it's worth it. It's worth the $3.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is that the official list?
That's my official list.
Okay. Of upcoming games and soft. I don't know the whole spiel. I was gonna try to do it, but I wouldn't even be close. I'll be honest. I was trying to put together a top 5, and I just couldn't decide on number 5. But I'm gonna say Monster Boy was my number 5. I had a lot of fun with it. It was that's exactly it. That was the garbage toss if there ever was one. Also, what are installs and people still download? That's right, Link.
Yeah.
I love that's like the easiest thing when people are like, "Oh, I can't believe it has this big of a day one patch." I'm like, "What? What does that mean?" So number 5, Monster Boy. Me and the kid put in some serious hours into that. I thought it was really fun and quirky, and I loved the visuals. And being the different animals, I just thought it was a really unique take on the platformer. So really enjoyed that. And now my top 4. Number 4, Baldur's Gate 3. What a time! This D&D fan fell so hard for that game. My God, I've never played a Baldur's Gate before, but I have played D&D a lot, and what an experience. I adored it. Bugs and all, making my character. I made the same one for my current D&D campaign.
I have slightly bad news for you. You do know that the first patch they just put a patch here that I think deletes all your like progress. You either start again.
You're a liar.
No, I'm actually being
for real.
It's an out. Yeah, I mean it's a beta game. I mean, early
fair.
Access? But yeah, apparently they had let people know like, hey, this is going to happen at some point.
Okay, cool.
So
that's right. I'll do it again. I had a great time with it.
Yeah.
So, even with that news, it still stays in number 4. I thought it was a really good time. I never played Baldur's Gate, so I just didn't know what to expect. And to like actually click the dice and see it roll, and like it gave me those D&D moments, but just me in a video game. So I thought it was great. Like I cheered as loud when I hit a 20 as I do when we're all playing D&D. So it was goofy. It was fun. I loved it. And honestly, if they delete my progress, that's cool. I'll do it again. I'll make a whole new character.
It's a game I'm waiting for either a discount or whatnot on it because I really do want to play that game. It looks like that's the game I was most excited for. I'm like, the early access is what I think is holding me back, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. Coming in at number 3, and this is an old game. Hitman. I had not played IO's Hitman at all when it was on any of the consoles, and it came out on Stadia. I want to say it was a pro game, and I was like, let's check out what this Hitman is that everybody loves, and boy, do I get it. That is so much fun. And the fact that you can honestly approach those levels so many different ways is incredible. I like games that give you stories that you want to tell people and like you get excited about and you like relive these moments. And I'll never forget when I could not figure out how to get to this one target. So I said, screw it. I knocked out a security guard, put on his outfit, walked right up to the dude and just blasted him in the head in front of everybody. Alarms go off. I ran. I jumped out of a window, climbed down to another floor, found a waiter, knocked him out, put on his uniform and walked away. And I felt so cool. So that game is moment to moment, just juicy. I loved it. Number 2, CyberPunk.
Number 2.
I know
what number 1's going to be, but I'm surprised.
I know. This game was everything I needed it to be on Stadia. People mocked me that I was getting it day one on Stadia, that I pre-ordered it on Stadia. Look who gets the last laugh. I have talked about it on this show so many times. I do not have the ability to play giant games on my TV anymore. Like on my TV, sometimes, yes, but not with the family and everything. Like, there's just no way I can sink that many hours in, and I need the ability to either pop it on my laptop or pop on my phone. And the experience that CD Projekt Red delivered me, sorry everyone else who bought it on Xbox and PlayStation, has been exactly what I wanted. So it's number 2. I'm loving it. 20 hours in, I adore it, and it runs silky smooth. So, and my number 1, my game of the year, is Immortals: Phoenix Rising. That game hits on every level, and I think it's just the game we needed to end this shitty year.
Yeah, I agree.
It's so joyous and whimsical and funny, and I love the combat. It's so just, it's everything we needed. So that is why I give Immortals my game of the year over CyberPunk. I think they're both great experiences. CyberPunk made me very sad right off the bat, whereas Immortals has just been nothing but joy.
Exactly.
Brian, thanks for joining us. Hello, friendos. And Dylan, also, thanks for popping in. Love having you guys here. We're just talking about game of the year. So we have 2 for Immortals, and Jacob played some card game a lot.
Hey, Immortals was 2 just because I had again, I'm not far enough in, but I feel like it's going to be there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you did shout out Immortals. I was just giving you a hard time. I don't know. I like, to the point that the last 2 days I've had some time to game, and I've picked Immortals over CyberPunk because it's just what I'm loving right now. I don't know. And they put in an update where it has 60 frames per second. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
You can go into your settings and choose fidelity or
performance.
Yeah. And it had no problems hitting 60 frames streaming.
Nice.
So, is a 700 gigabyte data cap good enough for Stadia? Oh, I love that.
I
We're
do not.
taking audience questions.
I do not know. How about you?
Hi. So I used to work in internet technical support. So hi.
Hi. That question back up there for you.
Hello, Dylan. So if you have 700 gigabytes, it shouldn't be overly too bad if you have a data cap. You just want to make sure that you kind of monitor how much data you use in an hour, because if you're going at 60 frames per second and depending on the quality that you have it set up on your computer, you could be eating a lot of data at once. So I would definitely do maybe even a test hour. It should probably only eat maybe 5 to 6 gigs, which is still a lot. I personally haven't done any testing to see how much data it has consumed with me, at least. But I know on at least if you have if you're playing on a cell phone, it does compress the data usage that's used. At least it tries to. So I would definitely just make sure to monitor it. It shouldn't eat it too much, but the problem is you're constantly streaming the game. So it could be relatively difficult because you're essentially watching, it's pretty much being treated as you're watching YouTube videos, which can eat data really fast.
If you're also, I was gonna say, if you're playing on PC through Chrome, or I would recommend if you're gonna play on a Windows 10 computer, use actually the Edge Chromium browser. It's the best experience in terms of video quality, oddly enough. But make sure you download the extension Stadia Enhanced. It's an extension that's in the Chrome store. There's actually a toggle you can put on that in the top left corner. It will have all your streaming information. And so you can actually see how much data you're actually using per hour and how long that session is using. It also tells you your video codec. You can also force VP9 in that, which is nice. But yeah, you can, which I think has the better data usage. There's the 2 different ones. I think BV9 is the one that's better data usage. Hopefully we get AV1 soon, which would be even better. But then you can actually just monitor everything: frame rate, your resolution, latency, everything like that. So highly recommend using that too, especially if you're on a data cap.
I had for a while, I have unlimited data now, but I had a terabyte, I think is what I was offered. And I hit 90% at the end of the month once. And that's in pandemic, if this helps. So when I say in pandemic, that also means I'm working from home on internet 8 hours a day. Plus we have several devices in our home that are connected. Plus I was maining Stadia over other like devices like PlayStation or anything like that. So
Yeah.
take that for what it's worth. Thanks for asking a question. We got to do this StreamYard thing more. This is great.
Yeah, this is fun. This is fun. I
Yeah.
like it.
Awesome. Well, that brings us to our final topic. We're at the end of the year. It's our last episode of 2020. We've already talked about all the great things Stadia has done to really kind of turn things around and really start making new believers like Travail, like Jackson, all those good people. So what do you guys want to see out of Stadia in 2021? What can they do to grab this momentum by the reins and keep it trucking into the next year? Any big hopes, dreams, or wild predictions? Fiona, you're new to the show, so I just want to tell you, wild predictions are par for the course in this show. Y'all heard it here first that CyberPunk was coming to Stadia day one. That was one of my very first predictions, so go crazy. We'll let you go first as our very special, very first time guest. Unless you were to pass the paper if you need a minute.
Yeah. Well, I did have a little bit of a list. Mostly it was games that I kind of want to see on Stadia. Because I know that there's some series that I like that I can only assume would probably be coming to Stadia next year, because there's like Darkest Dungeon is coming out with Darkest Dungeon 2, which has been super big. Shockingly, like I played it when it was in beta back in 2015. So knowing that they're coming out with the second game, I think I would definitely want to see it. That's like essentially a baby kind of like hope for 2021 for Stadia. But I really want to see a large AAA game, like a Stadia exclusive. Like I want some big juicy game by a game like creator that just like is on course to be like almost like fighting towards like Uncharted or even like fighting like The Last of Us. So something like on that scale, but Stadia exclusive, because I think they're really on par for the course right now to do that because of their momentum that they got in the past few months. And I think like obviously this isn't something that they come up with overnight. Like they have statistics, they have all the information at Google. So I think they're probably in the process of doing that, but obviously it hasn't been announced. But I think we are definitely going to see some like, and with how Cyberpunk has been running on Stadia, I think it's shown other like developers like, hey, we are an actual liable like gaming area that you guys could come to. And I think it allows them to have easier access and to be able to see like, hey, we don't need to worry about it working on one specific thing. Like they'll have access to play it everywhere. And I think that kind of will gravitate more groups to come to Stadia. And so I'm really hoping that we see some crazy, like huge announcement that says like, hey, we're going to be a Stadia exclusive, and be like huge fuck you. And be like, you know what? You know that we used to be on Xbox and PlayStation. Peace out, bitches. We're going to Stadia.
Yeah, I kind of need you to watch language. This is a family show, man.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I curse all the time.
Oh,
you should have seen us during the One Stadia Connect, our reactions to that. Oh my goodness, I was loose and fast and loose on that one.
To your point, yeah, I want to say real quick, I not only the third party exclusive, I totally agree. Like a really big AAA title that you can only play on Stadia is going to be a massive win. But I liked what you said about Cyberpunk really showing developers like, no, this is a real thing and you guys need to get in on this. Yeah. I'm going to be very interested to see how many more people want to start getting their titles over here just to reach that larger base. So
yeah, I think that's a problem is like PlayStation and Xbox, they know that they're essentially like hot shit. And so they're like, oh, everyone loves us. So we don't need to put in as much work. And as we saw with Cyberpunk,
you might need to.
That is a bold-faced lie, my sir.
Yeah.
So when you have like if it was running the same way on all platforms, then it would be obviously something going on with like the game itself. Like obviously there's things that go like there's a ton of things about Cyberpunk that I'm not a huge fan of, and that's a whole other pack of worms or like can of worms. But I think this was a great opportunity to be like, hey, like I know that you guys have been really like relying on these like massive titans of the gaming industry. Even like we're not recognized as much. Stadia obviously being only out for a year at this point. But saying like, hey, we're actually a good group. Like this is a new way to do it. And I think this was like a way that they can kind of show like this is the future of gaming. Like you don't need to download it. It's easy accessible. No one needs to worry about like honestly, it's 2020. Why are we still worried about like pre-downloading games? I know. I'm Canadian, guys.
I was totally kidding.
Oh no. It's just like I swear quite a bit, but then every so often, like I'll try not to. Especially when I'm called out on it. But no, this was very much like, hey, like it's 2020. People need to like get their shit together, and I think that Stadia really reflected like, hey, yeah, cool, they have a new console and everything, but they're kind of relying on that at this point. Whereas Stadia is just like, we're putting in the work, we're going to get these games, we're going to like, we know that they're going after these studios, and they're not being like, hey, we're Google and sitting back. They're like, hey, we're Google, here's a free like Premier Edition, here's accessibility to our platform, like super easy, you don't need to put in your credit card information. You still need to do that for PlayStation and Xbox, but Stadia's like, hey, we want people to try it and be more accessible so people can actually enjoy our service, because gaming is about enjoying yourself and having fun. And I think a lot of like recently it's trying to be like, oh, we're super big, blah blah blah. Like I'm not like, I still like PlayStation. I still feel the same way about Xbox, but Stadia is like, I really appreciate it overall because they've put in so much work. So I think they're going to get a AAA game, and they might come out and be like, hey, here's a 1 year, you know what? Here's my prediction. If you've been with us for 1 year, here's a controller on us, and here's a color.
Yeah. Totally. I think they should do some sort. I do think they need to expand the color platform, and do something for the fans that have been there. Unfortunately, I still regret not being a founder. I canceled my founder edition because I was having a kid and I was like worried about money, and then I still ended up getting a controller and stuff. So it's like I can't.
One thing, I'm not a founder.
None of us are.
But my boyfriend is. And
really?
Sometimes when I told him I was going to be on this podcast, he's just like, you're going on this.
I was a founder.
He's like, do you see that beside my name? Yeah, I'm a founder. Why am I not going on this podcast? I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, maybe you should talk to people. And he's like,
it hurts me not to have that next to my name. It hurts me so much. I still regret it.
I had the founders pre-order, just so you know, and I canceled it because then I got $100 for getting the Pixel 4 from Google. So I canceled it and just ordered the Premier Edition just to get it for free. And I still kick myself to this day. Also, to your point, Link TV says Splash Damage is working on an MMO. Really looking to see what they drop. So we do have some exclusives coming. Go ahead.
Well, Splash Damage, they partnered with Splash Damage for that game, but actually Splash Damage got bought. Well, Splash Damage is owned by another company who actually got bought by Tencent. So yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that was just a partnership, I think, for that game. It's similar to like they don't own Harmonix or Supermassive. Supermassive is still working on other games, but they're partnering with them for that game. But yeah, it does mean that they are more willing to probably put their next game on Stadia, since they understand the hardware and the software and Vulkan and all that stuff. So yeah, hopefully they get more stuff on Stadia.
Not to interrupt you guys, if you have a few minutes after we wrap up this topic of our 2021 predictions, we do have a couple of questions in chat if you guys are willing to go through them. Oh, cool.
Well, some of these I'm probably going to address with mine. So
perfect.
Well, some of the things they talked about. I guess I'll hop in. I do agree. I mean, obviously Madden needs the final, like they need to get the EA games over finally. I've been talking about this for a while, that not having Madden was a big deal for me because I wanted to actually play Madden this year, and it's like the season's over. I'm a big Mutt fan. The season's already over, and like all that, like playing it as you're like in the moment is kind of gone. As well, I was gonna say the Apex and Warzone need to, like one of the two one of the two big ones to kind of what he was saying about having a AAA game that's a big hitter. They already have like the exclusive.
Apex,
oh yeah,
more battle royale in general.
Yeah, they have already had one exclusive AAA game in Baldur's Gate 3, but that's a very niche game. They need to what you're saying. They need a game that's more, I guess, general population. Just a game that will bring in more people in general. Like Baldur's Gate, you're bringing in a specific sect of people. Like, you need to have a more crowd pleasing game, like Call of Duty.
Yeah,
totally.
What else? I had other things I wanted to talk about. I want to knock out some of these real quick because I was thinking about this already anyway. Aaron, you go. I'll come back.
No, you're good. Also, we did talk about this at the top of the show. I know it is unfortunate, but for me, I was okay with it. That Cyberpunk's downfall on consoles was actually a great spotlight for Stadia. We covered the fact that they ended up like really even selling out of the Premier Edition early, and I think it's because it was running so bad on console. My 2021 predictions. Do you guys want my hype moment first or last?
Last.
Hype for you.
Last.
I do have one big prediction that I think happens within the first 6 months. I think we're going to see more AAA titles day one. I think that's going to just be a natural evolution of things. I think that'll kind of take out the taste of old games are old that we hear a lot. I do believe we are going to see at least one major AAA exclusive to Stadia release this year. And then to go back to the point of battle royales, the big thing that I think is going to happen, I think Fortnite is coming to Stadia, and I think that's how they're going to get around all of this Google Play, Apple Store nonsense.
Well, see, with the Samsung store, they actually have it on the Samsung store now.
Yeah.
So that's one partnership I know they've done. So
if you can play Fortnite for free on Stadia, and they don't get their 30% because it's not technically an app purchase.
Yeah.
I think Epic comes out swinging, and I think they're going to be the first big battle royale to come out and hit. Sorry, PUBG.
Well, I
know you're on there, but
I do wonder how, because you still have to buy stuff through the Stadia store. I'm not sure how they're going to. I mean, Stadia has to make money somehow for being a free platform, so that's why I'm hesitant on that one specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested how they're gonna put it behind Pro or not for the free play games.
That would make sense.
That's I'm still not sure.
Yeah, if you say, okay, we have Fortnite, but it's free for Pro, or you can pay for it, but it's free to play everywhere else. So
yeah, it's interesting just because if they're not gonna get a cut Stadia Google at all, then that's where it's a little hit and miss on those.
How does it work for like? Well, I guess you buy them through the Stadia store, don't you? For cosmetics, for like Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
If I want to buy the Stranger Things pack, I have to do that through the Stadia store.
Yeah,
so
even it's actually on sale right now too. Is money for Elder Scrolls Online? I think is even like you can buy through the Stadia store. So
yeah.
But yeah,
and then also, so. I want to see more games like that, though, that are going to bring in a big user base. And then I will be really interested to see if Luna can get their feet under them. But I would actually expect another like Ubisoft Plus type thing for a different game studio to launch on Stadia. That's the other thing I really want to see in 2021.
Yeah.
I think we're going to move to this subscription model. Where you're going to start seeing you just pay for channels like Hulu, Netflix, all that. You're going to pay for your Ubisoft Plus. You're going to pay for your access to this, access to that. I could definitely see this model working really well, especially on Stadia. And if Ubisoft does go gangbusters, I expect other studios to start following suit, starting with EA.
EA with EA Play and whatnot.
I think EA Play coming to Stadia would be a huge win for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once they get the 5 EA games, the 2 that we don't even know yet, they've only announced 3 of the 5. So
right, so 2 more that
are the other 2 freaking Mass Effect is the one.
Oh God, my heart, that would be my hype moment. If you gave me the Mass Effect remastered on Stadia, I'm gonna lose my mind.
My other, I guess, big thing is similar to what you guys thinking a AAA game exclusive on Stadia. I think specifically it's going to be a Ubisoft game. I think it's with the partner, like similar to how, like, well, it's actually kind of funny how PlayStation has 2 Bethesda games exclusive for time exclusive for like a year probably, and Microsoft just bought them. But otherwise, I would have said probably Bethesda would be one. But I think if they're gonna go for the big studio, it's going to be Ubisoft because to get a AAA level game,
Totally.
Yeah. Who else would it be? Like, who else is
Right.
out there is making AAA style stuff besides like EA or Activision that put it on there? I just don't see otherwise. But they do need, I wish I had bigger takes for the 2021, but I just think it's gonna be a slow burn this year. Honestly,
I think we're in for another 2020.
I mean, no, not necessarily. I think we get Gen 2 early this year. I think before Q2 we get Gen 2 blades.
Yeah.
We already know they exist like from multiple places. I think that'll be the next big push for Stadia in terms of like, oh, these guys should compete with PlayStation 5s and possibly beyond. We don't even know what. Yeah, from my understanding, I think it is just around PlayStation 5 performance they're planning on getting. So to really compete with the next gen, I think that'd be
totally
the next thing they really need to like get mind share is that. But then I think from going forward is gonna be, I think most, if not, against like you said, CD Projekt Red having like such success on Stadia, I think we see way more day and date on Stadia games this coming year, just across the board. Besides Ubisoft, obviously Bethesda probably not anymore, but who knows? But I think we see a lot more of the AAA higher level games on Stadia day and date.
Okay. Do you guys feel like Battle Royale is a game changer for them?
Absolutely,
pulling more of those.
I'm not a fan, but
it's not your jam personally, but
I like Apex, and that's about it at this point anymore.
Yeah, like I played Fortnite for a little bit. I cannot play Apex because I get motion sickness playing that game. And yeah, I don't know. They've always been kind of weird to me, but they make so much money at this point.
Yeah. Exactly. Out of a 9-year-old, I play a lot of Fortnite in this house, but
do I wish that they would just come out with a battle royale based off of the original book? Absolutely, because then I would be doing that all the freaking time. That is gore, blood, and death all over the place.
I was like, because PUBG kind of did a lot of skins and stuff like that based on the original book / movie.
Fantastic, so. Not for children whatsoever, though.
No.
Hi, Meg. Welcome to chat. After CyberPunk, she can't wait to see more day-and-date games releases on Stadia. I totally agree. I think you're right. There's not necessarily that it's a big hype moment, but I think you're going to see it start building on the successes they had at the end of this year. We are going to see more AAA titles coming day one. We are going to start seeing a lot more of these just kind of fixes from that stumble. Man, I know it wasn't necessarily a prediction, but Porter, I'm telling you, if Mass Effect comes to Stadia, God, I'll never do another episode of the show because that's all I'll be doing. Just playing Mass Effect over and over. You'll replace me with Fiona.
That's a big hole in my gaming pile. Like I've never played Mass Effect. I mean, I'm an PlayStation guy. I didn't know something in the PC at the time, and then I know they did that comic for like 1, so you could play 2, but I'm like, I don't want to do that, and then I just never did.
Oh man, you guys are missing out. It's probably one of my favorite trilogies of all time. It's so good. The first one though, this remaster, they got to fix some stuff in the first one. Like there's some jank for sure.
Oh no.
So I've also just in general been more of a fantasy fan as opposed to sci-fi.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah.
It's like Star Wars is a good happy medium.
My fiction.
Was that? Sorry, I spoke over top of you entirely.
You're good. I just said I swing both ways when it comes to my fiction. Fantasy, sci-fi, I'm in. I like it all. So awesome. Well, that is the predictions of 2021. I think Stadia continue to grow and win, and we're going to see more and more people kind of shift. We've talked about it several times on the podcast, Jacob. It's been wild to see our group shift. We're getting less and less jokes, less and less haters, more and more people finally like coming out saying that they're actually playing it, enjoying it, and supporting it. And it's been pretty awesome to see. So I hope they continue that. Yeah. Otherwise, Fee, I'm going to put you in the green room for just a second, but don't leave, and we'll sign off. Me and Jacob are going to say goodbye to everybody.
Wait. Have her drop her like.
Oh yeah, Fee, plug all your stuff, your Twitch channel,
yeah. I was gonna say,
your Twitter.
Give her a second.
Give us all of it. Sorry, I'm new to having a guest on, and it's just throwing me off.
No worries at all. So you can see me play Stadia games over on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Zoranix. As a Canadian, it is spelt with a Z, not a Z, but it is ZURANIIX. I have been playing Immortals over there. I'm probably gonna hop on I'm going to be popping on tonight to play Immortals, but tomorrow I'm probably gonna jump on and play some Cthulhu Plays Saves Christmas. And I also do artwork. You can find my Twitch channel times, as well as some of my artwork and stuff like that, or just my hot takes on how Stadia is better than everything else over on my Twitch and my Instagram for more art stuff, but it is also all under Zoranix.
She is one of the best artists out there. When I started learning how to do art this year, she was a huge resource, so definitely go check that out. Also, I am dropping links to her Twitch and her Twitter in the comments, so make sure to give her a follow and a sub and give her all the love. It was so wonderful having you here. Like I said, don't hit that leave studio or you'll be gone forever, and that'll make us sad.
I will not leave, I promise.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us. It was great. You will be back. And apparently we need to bring your boyfriend on because he's like the real fan.
Yeah.
And on that note, thank you so much. Okay, that is the last episode of 2020 for Speaking of Stadia. I just wanted to take a moment with just two of us to say thanks so much for all the support. We hit 200 followers today. This little journey of ours has always just been about having fun and two guys wanting to talk about Stadia.
I mean, we record whenever on the week.
Exactly. But you guys showing up for our first live show and following us on Twitter and giving us all that love, we just really, really appreciate it. I just want to say thank you. It's awesome. And we will see you guys in 2021.
Yeah, hopefully it's a better year for Stadia and everyone.
For everyone. Let us have a better 2021. Merry Christmas and have a wonderful new year. Thank you, guys.
Love you all.